Let's talk about combat. If your flight model sucks, then everything attached to it sucks. Elite has flying down cold. The weight and response to flying Elite ships is unmatched at the moment. It's one of those games that makes you physically lean your body while turning and rolling. Once you put down Elite and play anything else, it feels subpar. I don't know if Elite's flight is better or if it's just a more accessible version of complicated flight mechanics. If Elite didn't exist, Citizen would be hard to beat, but as is, it's plenty competent. And they're going for a more realistic, physics-based approach where every single thruster on the ship is simulated. What you do miss is that feeling of struggling with the controls to make that tight turn to orient with the enemy flying past your canopy, but struggling to stay steady while flying in the wake of an enemy ship that's breaking up and shedding parts is pretty dope though. In Elite, you can boost to accelerate your movement in any of the 6 degrees of freedom, which gives you an insane amount of options for commanders to jockey into position. If you've never heard of 6 degrees of freedom, that's pitch, roll, yaw, or moving on the X, Y, or Z axis. You've also got flight assist off, which is a near Newtonian mode that lets you maneuver yourself into a barf bag paradise. Star Citizen has decoupled mode, which is similar to flight assist off, but is less Newtonian and still has a minor assist from the flight computer. But you use one for the same reasons as you use the other. Elite Combat presents you with some paper, rock, scissors scenarios where an enemy will either joust you, confront you head up, or flee. And these can be overcome with superior strategy to place you in a dominant position, only to lose it to the flight assist off wildcard. Star Citizen Combat hasn't fully found its legs yet and sees a lot of jousting and stray fights, but it has some interesting variables like the space brake, which is basically a hard application of retro thrusters to bring you to a quick stop. The speed limiter, which lets you throttle down your top speed to give you finer control, and the acceleration limiter, which lets you dial in the amount of force your thruster can exert. On the weapon side of things, Elite has a lot of them. Star Citizen's weapons are growing, but since Citizen has legs, ships can be outfitted with weapons that accommodate those spacewalks. EMPs can temporarily take out helm control, while somebody raining distortion weapons can keep enemy systems suppressed without destroying the ship, allowing you or your boarding party to take command of the helpless vessel. Elite lets you target each individual module on an enemy ship, great for taking out enemy weapons or knocking out the distributor to slow down their shields, engines, and weapons recharging. At this point in Star Citizen, the only component that you can target directly is the main thruster. The trade-off is that in the verse, you can physically destroy parts of ships, and that destruction has real consequences. It gets real in the field when you're endlessly spinning out of control because somebody plucked your wings, doctor. Gotta love how they just left me here thinking about what I did to end up looking like a rotisserie chicken. Like in Elite, Citizen gives you the option for fixed or gimballed weapons. The difference here is that the gimbal is purchased separately and the gun that you attach to the gimbal has to be one size smaller. So if you have a size 4 hardpoint and stick a size 4 gimbal on it, the biggest gun that will fit on the gimbal is size 3, which balances things off so that if you want your guns gimbaled, it's going to be a little weaker. Defensively, Elite ships generate an omnidirectional shield that continues to absorb damage until it completely fails. Shields in the verse can be adjusted to fortify the front, the rear, starboard, port, top, or bottom. But ships going pew pew is thankfully not the only thing to do in either game. Let's go explode some rocks. The latter half of 2018 saw Elite getting the best addition to the game, probably since Planetary Landings, which was before my time. Elite mining used to be just laying on your mining laser until you got a notification that an asteroid was stripped bare. Then you fetched all the pieces and that's pretty much all there was to it. Now we've got a much deeper skill-based attack on asteroids holding the expensive goodies. You can strip mine the surface like before, then fire missiles that'll drill a short way into the surface to free some materials, and finally you can take one of these office park-sized rocks and blow it up, freeing and exposing precious materials that can be sold at a high profit. It's visually and sonically the best the game has to offer, and it was literally a game changer. I don't like saying the word literally, so for me to say it, you know these sentences are composed of 100% grade A real talk. The economy of the game is now centralized in mined materials. It's to the point of more and more commanders having way more money than things to spend it on. Still, Frontier did such an excellent job on this, it doesn't seem like any other game would have the testicular fortitude to try and top it. and no other game has attempted to top Elite's mining update since it's been released. Yep. But the summer before Elite's new mining was released, Star Citizen dropped their own multi-step skill-based mining mechanic. How does it compare? Well, Elite has you scanning rings for hotspots of valuable asteroids, then entering the rings and scanning for random valuable asteroid types that have profitable items, further scanning of the asteroid to identify its contents, and then using various tools and methods to remove the precious bits. Star Citizen also requires scanning, but instead of combing through hundreds of asteroids, you're narrowing down the location of one at a time that's already been identified as containing valuable materials. Once you've located the rock, you wait for a quick analysis of its composition, resistance, and instability. The resistance and instability guide you as you throttle your mining laser up or down in an effort to raise the rock's energy level to a sweet spot. Overcharging the rock will cause an explosion that can severely damage or kill you. Once the rock is fractured, you can extract the ore from the small enough pieces or break the larger pieces down further. I wouldn't call it better than Elite's mining, but it's definitely a competent alternative that's a bit less monotonous when it comes to locating asteroids. Plus, it gives you that Ben Affleck and Armageddon vibe as you're fighting to stay in the sweet spots without overloading the thing. Star Citizen doesn't have that nice, beautiful explosion found in Elite, but the trade-off is the addition of first-person mining. You can get out the ship to break off those small, fragile, valuable pieces that will get destroyed in the blast, or you can make your way to a planet's surface and go where your ships can't follow. The love don't stop at space, atmosphere, or surface. You can make your way below the surface into caves where you can break up rocks by hand for the great United Earth credit chase and cart it off to your ship for sale. But on the whole, it doesn't matter what game you mine in. It's what's in your wallet. And here we are, looking at two experiences with their different approaches to ships, outfitting, combat, and mining. Is one better than the other? Do we have to choose sides? Do sides even exist outside the comment section where folks tell you what you should play and what's a scam and what's too grindy? All I know for sure is if you're a true fan of all things sci-fi, you're doing yourself a huge disservice if you're not checking out both games, even if just from a distance. Without both Elite and Citizen lighting the fires years ago, the space sim explosion never happens. And where would we be then, ladies and germs? Wishing somebody would make a cool space game. Well, here we are. So let's enjoy it like an Elite Citizen. In the next episode of Star Citizen for Elite Dangerous Cmdrs, we're touring the Stanton system to take a look at what exactly there is to do, ground vehicles, heavenly bodies, and what life is like for a commander and a citizen. Gracias, Mungatak, and big thanks to the Dig That fan for your Patreon support. It really does mean a lot. Big 7-up salute to Commander Blackout, to Diedrichs, to the Mother, to Bussa Boy, to Anthony Jackson, to Guillotine Girl, and to SM. My name is Dig That, and that's my time. Fly dirty.